Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to The Hawk and I. My name is Lana Zelinsky, and I work in the spirit dimensions. And as always, in all my videos or on my live feeds, simply take what resonates, and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. Well, here we are, midweek. I am a little bit early this morning. I know I have sessions at 9, so I need to pop on and give you the energy update. 'Cause I really didn't want to wait until Friday to chit chat and connect with all of you energetically with what's happening. Good morning. Come on in. Hey, Amber. Good to see you. Welcome. It's nice to see you here. I'll give you all a minute. Good morning, Brian and Wesley. Hello. Come on in, everyone. It will be a short live this morning. I have 9 a.m. sessions, as I mentioned. So I need to get this out to all of you to kind of help navigate. Very interesting week energetically. It's been, a little bit emotional energy has come up quite a bit. We are entering into a rare blue moon and super moon, a beautiful gift from the universe. But this beautiful gift may be stirring up some things for you. And we talked a little bit about that on Monday as well. But I'm curious with just a yes comment here. Have you been feeling some emotional stuff coming up, or from other people? Has there been some people around you perhaps that have been very emotional? It's almost like even the smallest thing from, maybe even like, 10 years ago, or maybe the smallest thing from yesterday seems to be bubbling up some emotions. There seems to be this bit going on that's been taking up some space within us. So yeah, I see yeah, a lot of yeses coming on here. Some negative headspace going on and crying. Yeah. So this is totally connected to what's happening here at an emotional level. So when I sat with spirit early this morning, we had a chit chat about this new energy that's coming in, and the full moon that's coming up. This rare full moon, the blue moon, it's a super moon, is pulling that out of us. So, and what happens when we start to feel things? So, what normally happens, for many of us, when we start to feel things that we don't want to feel, we kind of push back down, push back down. And what energetically is happening is there's this pull of no, 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 no. There's some karmic changes. There's some emotional level upgrades coming. We're being called, and we're always called to let go. But this is a bigger call into this. This is like a microphone, really hollering at us energetically to push some of this up and out and to kind of bring ourselves into a remembering of that emotional space and being able to release it and being able to do that from a place of being very grounded. So, what often happens, and I'm sure you'll all nod your head, is when these emotions come up, we become very disconnected or out of sorts, and we just kind of like knee jerk react or have those emotional outbursts. Try coming into more of a grounded space with it. Try coming in with I'm gonna feel this with my feet on the ground. I'm gonna let this kind of come up and come out in a more of a I'll use the word spiritual way, or more of a connected way, to be able to truly give ourselves that permission, that space, to be able to let it flow and to give ourselves that clearing. There is a big push with a lot of clearing energy, clearing of our auras, clearing of our chakras, clearing of our psychic connections. There's some clearing moving in here with this full moon, and the closer we get to it, and August 30th, the closer we get to August 30th, don't be surprised if you're seeing this, and it may be from other people as well. So it may not be coming from you. Other people are going through a lot of clearing out as well. So if you're kind of okay with this energy, just be aware that other people are clearing their stuff, and they may not have the tools to navigate through the understanding of it. And so the whole compassion piece comes back into that space of they're clearing and moving. They're clearing and moving. They're clearing and moving. And I think that sometimes we often get pulled in. So remember not to get pulled in to other people's clearing, because that quite often happens too. It's like we have that, and then we get our defenses up and we pull out our weapons, if you will. Spirit, like our emotional, stuff. I don't mean actual weapons, but you know what I mean by that. We pull out our defenses, right? And we struggle to not quite understand why are you having this moment. I mean, that was something that we worked through 5 years ago or whatever it is. Other people are going through their stuff. Use the opportunity to help teach them too. We are here collectively. We're here to help each other. We're here to support. So if you're around someone that's really struggling, take a moment and say, you know what really helps me when I'm trying to move through some stuff is just bringing myself to that space of stillness, of grounding ourselves, of being able to allow and feel. Don't be afraid to lean in there and help and support from that way, because with this emotional, and it is going to come in as an upgrade in the upcoming weeks, you are going to get to the other side of this with an upgrade. So you're just going to have like I guess like an elevation, an energy elevation once you move through a lot of this. And once you kind of clear that space, it's almost like, it felt like to me spirit was giving me this: finally I can move on from that experience. Finally I feel lighter. There was a finally at the end of my meditation today, where there's just this big crack, is kind of how it felt. It's like finally I've cracked through that. So if you've been working on a lot of your stuff, if you've and it's going to get louder this, between now and the 30th. If you've been working on that, there's going to be, just kind of lean in there with, I know I'm going to push through it. I know there's going to be a different space, and it's going to feel very much like a big opening with a lot of ahas. The other thing that's going to come up is a lot of this inner old wisdom. So, because what I was seeing in my meditation this morning was a lot of past life stuff, but the wisdom piece, the learning piece. And I also was joined by a lot of, by that ancestor energy, was like the old energy, the old wisdom. So you may, when we kind of feel into that, you may be really pulled to older traditions, or you may have this deeper wisdom of being able to tap into that. It's going to flow a lot easier. It's going to push us into this space of ease and knowledge. And the other thing that I felt grow for many of us is our trust in that, our trust in our knowledge, our trust in our wisdom. We all, whether we, fully connect with it, or not, and it's okay if not, but we all have that deep intuition. We all have psychic energy. We all have that wisdom from the past, and you're going to want to apply that. And it may come out in very simple ways, like I need to sit by a campfire, or I need to cook something over a fire, or perhaps I need to pull out a really old recipe. It's going to kind of surface into that. And the reason that that's coming up is there is a lot to be said for what has already been learned. And it may not even be in this lifetime that you learned it. It may be pulling through, pull my own hair. It may be pulled through from a past life, and that may come to you in dreams. Perhaps you'll have a dream of a time long ago, where or simpler times, or perhaps you want to sit in a simpler time energy. Because when you think about it, there's always been a lot of growth and learning, throughout the years and generations and in past lives. And there's knowledge in that. So you may feel very pulled to that in the next couple days. Just simply allow that. Now, with this new moon, or sorry, with this blue moon and super moon, just give yourself some thought on and feel into that readiness within you to have that release, to have that finally move. I'm going to move through this finally. Just give it some thought coming up to the 30th, and whatever resonates with you, it can, because your intentions are very powerful. If it's just simply, I think I'm excited to move through that. I'm working on the next step. Even with just your thoughts are very powerful. They create. So if you want to create space. You want to create that opening up. You want to create the room to let it go, and the mindset to move through it. So because sometimes letting things go, we have to move through it. And that's where that emotional energy is going to come in. And emotional energy can bring us down a couple different paths. It can bring us down in a couple different directions on how we're going to process it. Right. So emotional level energy, it might not come through you as being a fuzzy bunny. It might come through you as anxiety. It might come through you as fear. It might come through you as, I wish I would have done that better. Allow it to push through. So just remember that I said it. If you start coming into the space, if you start feeling that emotional energy, just give it permission to, it's time to let you go. And you don't have to wait till the 30th. I'm a big one on that too. But sometimes just having a major event like a super full or a super blue moon, it can help get us into that space. It can help with that mindset of now is a really good time. I truly do believe that there is always a really good time to let go and work through stuff, but this is has the microphone out for us. I really felt that, and I think even myself, I think what I'm going to do is I'm literally, this may sound funny, but it is what it is. I may grab my microphone. I have a big Yeti microphone that I use for work here, and what I might do is I might speak my truth into that microphone. I just might sit with it and I just might speak it. And so that I can move through my own emotional energy with that. And take a look at what's hard for you. If speaking your truth is hard for you, grab yourself a microphone or even a fake one. It doesn't, even use a pen. It doesn't have to be an actual microphone. But look at what you find difficult energetically at an emotional level to move through. Perhaps it's sharing. Perhaps it's, I don't really want to share my feelings. So share it to the mirror, right? Share it out loud, share it to a plant, share it to your pet. Whatever you struggle with at an emotional level, find a creative way to be able to move through it. Wow. That was something else. It's going to feel a little bit intense between now and the 30th. Ask yourself or remind yourself, I'm opening up at a new emotional level, and the old has got to clear out. The old has got to make way. The old is asking to be surrendered. And it's going to come at many different levels for many of us, and it may come to you through other people as well. And one thing that spirit reminded me of is sometimes it's other people showing us where we need to work on. Right? Sometimes they will show us that. It might not, messages come in many different ways. And I think when we lean into that, we need to lean into that. What is this trying to show me or teach me? Gonna be some interesting energy. Allow it, move through it, embrace it, and trust it. Work really hard on keeping that grounded feeling while you move through it. It will help with that chaotic feeling. It'll help balance those emotions that are just asking to be given back. I'm gonna scroll up. I have only a few minutes, so I will hopefully on Friday have a little bit more time for other questions besides the energy stuff. So I'm gonna stay focused this morning, with the questions on the energy update. So there's a lot of validation here up on the screen that you're agreeing, you're seeing a lot of the stuff coming up. I need to hear this, says Kayla. My work has been horrible. The energy is draining and I feel like leaving. I need deep connection from my ancestors for support. Kayla, as you move through that, as you kind of lean into that emotional energy, is this something with this work that has come up for you on a repeat loop? Has there been a cycle here? And if, because if you answer yes to that, I would like you to kind of shift into, I'm going to be a little bit more open to other opportunities or a different space or a different way on handling it. And if it's situational, I'd like you to sit with exactly what you stated. I'm going to ask for some help and some support from ancestors, from my spirit guides on a different way of looking at it and moving through the energy of it. And perhaps it may be something as simple as I got to work through the emotional level of what's been going on here to better release the frustration, because the physical world is very frustrating. I'll be the first to admit that. It's hard here. It's frustrating here, and we don't always understand here. So just kind of take a look at that. Sone, I've also decided to retackle a project I've been pushed aside in the past. How do you feel about that? I feel a lot of excitement with it, but I also feel like I've got to be patient. I feel like I've got to be patient with myself. I feel like I've got to navigate this from the vibration or the alignment of patience, but also with the excitement with that into that re-exploring. Where are we going here? So Deanna says, my husband is starting to think deeper into spirituality and the source energy. I've been feeling so powerful and supported in telling him my beliefs and energy and what us as physical beings are. Oh, I love that. Get him to explore different books, get him to explore, perhaps workshops or connecting with people. I feel like I'm really thirsty for that knowledge, and let him process it and come up with his own, his own interpretations, his own truths. And I think he'll navigate through that. I see tiny, tiny steps, and then I see a big leap. Tiny, tiny steps, medium steps. So good for him. I they're applauding with the growth and the mindset. How do you let go and heal? Shots, one of the biggest things is giving ourselves permission. So one thing that I will literally say, okay, Lana, I'm going to give you need to give yourself permission to truly let it go, and just kind of feel visualizing it now outside of you. I always lean into, what did I learn? I try to lean into that positive space. What was that teaching me, and what did I need to learn from it? And I'm giving myself permission to let go and heal through it. Now, healing is an ongoing process, and that's one concept that I just want to touch base on briefly again. I have mentioned it before. We're constantly working through and healing, and healing does not necessarily mean that we forget the experience or forget that it ever happened. It's being able to look at that from a loving perspective and to be able to move forward from there, and working through it in many different ways. Some people really connect to Reiki, some people connect to journaling, some people connect to burning, to be able to to give ourselves permission to release and let go. And it is an ongoing thing. We're constantly always working through our crap. We're constantly always working on the healing, and we're constantly learning on how to let go. And it can be it's always a very individual process for everybody, right? um Dee Dee, the wisdom you gave me on Monday helped me sit with my mother-daughter issues and won't cut all ties because I still have more to learn from her. I want to know how she got so narcissistic. Um, Her experience in life, we all have our experiences, and we all have our journey and our learning. And that's one thing that helps that perspective, is kind of like the eyes of source energy. How does source see that person? They've made some choices, because we do come here with choice and free will. They came here to experience, and they also came here to teach. And sometimes we do have to lovingly stay in our own lane, and it doesn't mean that we have to completely disconnect or sever the cord. For some of us, that is how we need to do our own healing. We need to kind of like, I need to go over here. I wish you very well. I need to work on myself. But we can maintain that parallel, but with parallel lanes, right? And I think that sometimes we're meant to learn something from other people's experience as well. And I think that her experiences, because I'm pulled into a lot of past trauma there with her as well. So I'm just pulled into a lot of this was learned behavior or passed down behavior. A lot of this is ancestral. I feel that this experience for her in this physical lifetime, she came here to learn and process and work through a lot of that. Um, and sometimes, a lot of behaviors, can come from a health related issue as well, right? So, I hope that that helps you there with that. A couple more questions, and then I do have to get myself online. I'm on Zoom early this morning, and then I have to head to some in person sessions later today. So the timeline here is a little bit short. And he said, the spirit or guides have any messages for me? What keeps coming up for me is with you is I keep getting pointed back at you. So back at you. And and for me, that's my sign of trust yourself, trust your intuition. You have that knowledge to tap in and to trust. I feel like the next building stone, the next layer is the whole trust factor. So I don't know if you've been struggling with not trusting yourself, not trusting what you hear, not trusting how you feel, or the fear of, and I'll use the word mistake because that's how they're giving it to me, because that's not I don't like that word, but the fear of not doing something right, the fear of what if this doesn't work out. I feel like I've got to lean in there back to you with leaning in more and more on trusting the journey and trusting your higher self and what you're receiving. I hope that that makes sense there. Sometimes people will find that not very helpful when I say I'm getting it pointed back to you. The answer is there and you know it. So people will often like get that frown face with me. Sone, I recently watched one of your past life regressions live sessions and saw myself as a young man who died in his early 20s. I think that is the reason why I have my current death anxiety. Quite often, irrational anxieties or irrational like that that fear that is beyond what we can connect to in this lifetime comes from past lives. And it's interesting that you brought that up, and it's interesting that you went back and watched a regression session, because that is part of what I feel at an emotional level that's coming up, and with this inner wisdom, like I said. A lot of yous are validating yes, and it's a cycle. There's an opportunity to break from these cycles. The emotional level energy is going to be passing through between now and the 30th. Um, Go through it with some grace for yourself as well. I just felt the need to push that. Um, I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you enjoyed it, even though it was brief. We're only at the 20-minute mark. I do hope that you enjoyed today's transmission from the spirit dimensions. As always, I am wishing you love, light, blessings, and have a spirit guided day. Take care, everyone. Much love.